There is a part of you that remembers the promise you made before you incarnated, the promise of whom you would become, what you would heal, and what frequency would anchor directly into the earth. Today we're going to talk about a very important asteroid called Orcus, and Orcus activates when we drift far from our truth, also when we betray ourselves to stay small, or we ignore the calling that keeps tapping on us on the shoulder, and where you've abandoned your own potential. So before we even pull any cards today, I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question, and that is, where have you abandoned your own truth? Because Orcus is activating. That's what I'm seeing within this collective field. If you have found yourself in this world-line collision with this transmission that's rippled through space and time and found you in this very intelligent, self-organized system, this is a major theme in your life. It wasn't just an intention, but it was a promise. Orcus is an oath. And I'm hearing you have every intention in coming back into full alignment with your cosmic intentions before you incarnated upon this planet. So before we pull any cards, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Orcus. We'll run through a little bit of history on this asteroid because I do feel like it is one that slips under the radar. And it's been coming up again and again in meditations. It's one of the messages that it hurts, but in all the right ways, because it invites you to step into discomfort, but it's only by moving through the discomfort that you find ease and release. So, who is Orcus? Orcus is one of the oldest underworld beings, older than Pluto, older than the Roman myths that tried to soften him. Where Pluto transforms you, Orcus confronts you. He is the keeper of oaths, the guardian of soul contracts, and the one who shows you where you've abandoned your own truth. So he's not punishment, but he's consequence. He's spiritual accuracy. When Orcus activates in your chart, dreams, or your life, it means one thing and one thing only. And that's that your soul is calling you back to the vow that you made before you incarnated. I'm going to show you what I would see Orcus depicted as I'm hearing the card that represents him best. And I've pulled out my Egyptian deck for this. So we have Mat. Mat is the tarot card that embodies this frequency, okay? And this is the justice card. But not justice in the way that the West understands it, but justice in the way that the ancients understood justice to be. So what is Mat? Well, you have the feather of truth right here. This is the ostrich feather. And then you have the heart. And she is also positioned in the underworld. That's where she is here. So in the Egyptian mysteries, justice was not about right or wrong, but it was about alignment. So you have Mat here, the goddess of cosmic order. She held this single feather, and when a soul crossed into Duat, the underworld, their heart was placed upon this scale against the feather of truth. Not to judge their mortality, but to measure how true they had been to themselves. A heart heavy with unspoken truths, self-betrayals, abandoned callings, and ignored intuition would begin to sink this scale, and would basically lead to this disorder. A heart that was aligned with its soul contract, it was light, it was honest, it was courageous, and it was balanced, perfectly balanced with this feather here. This is the essence of Orcus. He's the moment that your soul weighs your life against whom it is that you came here to be. So, before we get into the placements or the signs or the houses or any of that, I want you to just feel in your heart, where does your heart feel heavier than it should? Okay, this is a time where I want you to really question before we even dive into this. Where have you felt out of alignment from your own truth? And where have you been breaking a promise to yourself? Just pause and reflect on that for a minute. I also want to bring the law of one in before we cross this multidimensional bridge, because in the law of one, Source is expressing itself through infinite identities, right? Through countless life forms. So you've lived thousands of versions of yourself across timelines, dimensions, and infinite identities. These are thousands of lives with thousands of versions of yourself across these different incarnations that are simultaneously existing. So when you feel that internal tension, when something in you says, this is not who I truly am, that's not guilt, but it's just this recognition. It's a remembering. A fractal of you in another timeline, another realm, already lives the version of yourself that you're trying to become. And Orcus is the bridge between those selves. He says, come back to coherence, return to the oath, and be who you said you would be before you entered this life. Before we get into the natal transits as well, I just want you to understand that Orcus is an asteroid that is also orbiting our solar system. So for example, he will aspect certain parts of your chart and it's always self-organized, but I'll give you a few examples. So let's say Orcus is conjunct your sun, right? Your natal sun. This could be a season where you end up confronting the vows around your identity. It could be where you've built structures around being the responsible one or the loyal one, and then that gets revisited. If Orcus comes in and like squares your moon, it will create this tension. And it will help you break any emotional inherited patterns. You could be healing wounds from the lineage or mother wounds. If Orcus comes in and opposes your ascendant, you may be calling back your power from certain relationship patterns where you've been over responsible or they've, again, like weighed heavy on the heart, right? Again, it all comes back to the scale. If Orcus conjuncts your nodes, there could be a massive karmic contract that is being rewritten, maybe like past life agreements that are now dissolving in real time in what it is you're currently experiencing. If Orcus crosses over your midhaven, there could be a shift when it comes to your vocational destiny in some ways, where you could be breaking oaths to careers that just don't serve soul growth. So if you find yourself resonating with more than what just shows up in your natal chart, know that Orcus is going to come in and aspect literally every single area of your life at some point in your evolution journey. So that's something that I want to mention there as well. And his transit can last anywhere from 1 to 3 years too. So you'll definitely have some type of point of reference when it comes to the profound exact impact that he's had in your life. It behaves much like Pluto and Saturn, just in the way where there's like this karmic ledger of the soul itself. So it's coming in and excavating everything. That's what I wanted to mention before we get into it. So with that being said, let's continue with the natal placements. Now that you understand the archetype of Orcus, let's go ahead and talk about where he is revealed in your chart via the sign and the house. Don't be surprised if you find yourself resonating with ones that may not even be in your chart within this specific lifetime, because you have memories of Orcus being self-organized in different areas of your chart throughout many lifetimes that you've had. So this is essentially going to show you where it is that you've signed, right? What promises you made before incarnation, what you've also drifted from, and how you're being called to come back into alignment with that. If you have Orcus in Aries or the first house, this is the vow of identity. The soul promised to live authentically. So Orcus exposes all false selves, masks, and personas. This is where you're redirected back to courage, leadership, and truth of the self. Every self-betrayal becomes unbearable until you choose you. If you have Orcus in Taurus or the second house, this is the vow of worth. The soul promised to value itself. So Orcus naturally reveals every place you've undervalued: your voice, gifts, time, or body. Money mirrors self-worth. This is where you're called to reclaim what you deserve and stabilize your life from truth and not fear. If you have Orcus in Gemini or the third house, this is the vow of expression. The soul promised to speak, so silence becomes karmic. Orcus exposes where you've swallowed truth, hidden your mind, or betrayed your voice. Your words carry magic and consequence. Communication becomes a sacred duty. If you have Orcus in Cancer or the fourth house, this is the vow of the lineage. The soul promised to break family patterns, ancestral karma becomes allowed, and Orcus reveals the emotional contracts you inherited and the patterns you must release. You return the oath of healing to your bloodline. If you have Orcus in Leo or the 5th house, this is the vow of creation. The soul promised to shine, and Orcus exposes everywhere you dim your light, suppress your joy, or hide your gifts. Creativity is a karmic assignment. You return to the vow of divine self-expression. If you have Orcus in Virgo or the 6th house, this is the vow of devotion. The soul promised to refine itself, and Orcus reveals self-neglect, chaotic routines, and abandoned responsibilities. Your body becomes an oracle showing where you're out of alignment. You return to the vow of daily devotion and sacred discipline. If you have Orcus in Libra or the 7th house, this is the vow of sacred union. The soul promised to love truthfully. Orcus brings karmic partners, mirrors, and accountability. Relationships expose self-betrayal. You return to the vow of conscious partnership and authentic connections. If you have Orcus in Scorpio or the 8th house, this is the vow of shadow integration. The soul promised to face darkness. Orcus activates past life contracts, trauma bonds, and psychic debts. Control, fear, and intimacy wounds surface. You return to the vow of transformation through truth. If you have Orcus in Sagittarius or the 9th house, this is the vow of truth and destiny. The soul promised to seek higher truth. False beliefs collapse, and dogma dissolves. Orcus pushes you to return to your soul path, your philosophy, and your mission. You realign with your original purpose. If you have Orcus in Capricorn or the 10th house, this is the vow of legacy. The soul promised to build something real. Orcus exposes career misalignment, authority issues, and destiny avoidance. You can no longer chase false success. You return to the vow of meaningful achievement and soul-led leadership. If you have Orcus in Aquarius or 11th house, this is the vow of collective purpose. The soul promised to contribute to humanity. Orcus reveals misaligned communities, friendships, and visions. You're redirected to the networks and missions that match your frequency. You return to the vow of future building. If you have Orcus in Pisces or the 12th house, this is the vow of remembrance. The soul promised to awaken, and Orcus dissolves illusions, escapism, and karmic loops from past incarnations. You confront forgotten timelines and subconscious vows. You return to the vow of spiritual remembrance and unity consciousness. We're going to do a reading around this, but the reason I've been called to share Orcus with you is because Orcus is an asteroid that deeply impacts my chart. He plays a huge role into my journey. He literally sits right with my North Node in Leo, conjunct Mercury. Now, I know if my work isn't led with integrity, then I don't want to do it at all. And I took a vow around communication, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is that even if this is discomforting, even if this breaks the illusion, I find deep satisfaction and joy in deep truths. I find joy in the discomfort because it's only by moving through discomfort that we find relief. It's not by spiritually bypassing it or pretending or trying to numb ourselves, but it's by walking straight into the places that most people run from. So every time I've collapsed in my life, it's because I've avoided the very thing that my soul was trying to show me. And every time I've thrived and I've grown and blossomed and risen, it's because I dared to face it. Now, what I see happening just with this nodal checkpoint essentially is it's going to be a return to the vow. That's what I wanted to kind of say before we continue with the reading. It's not that you're reinventing yourself, but it's you returning to whom it is that you've always been. So there's a level of surrender. There's a level of us as a collective, the decisions that we're making, not just for our own subjective journey, but how that also impacts the collective as well. Okay, so justice, right? Justice, justice, justice. Let's go ahead and do a reading around this. I want to really dive into the quantum first. And I'm going to just do a Cosmos Oracle message. Cosmic Ether. Cosmic Ether is a very, very powerful card. It kind of looks like a UFO. Let me go ahead and read it for you. Actually, this card doesn't come out very often. It's one of the biggest pages in the book as well. So there's something I'm hearing is a direct turning point in your life that doesn't happen very often. Cosmic Ether, it's a 2-page, so something is bigger than you may even anticipate right now. Let me read it to you. When the wave nature of light was discovered, it was thought that just as sound waves needed a medium, which is air, to propagate light waves, are also transmitted thanks to a medium which was named as cosmic ether, the enigma that only you can solve. And that's the controversy. No one can really give you the answers to this. That may be reinforced through reality around you, but there's a deep knowing that you have around it. Okay. Orcus, again, it's like the truth that keeps tapping you on the shoulder, but the one that you've kind of been nudging and ignoring. So, a delicate and light element of full purity is the primordial energy of light, from which everything starts before taking material form. It's the 5th element after fire, earth, water, and air. So this is plasma. That's what cosmic ether is. It's the interconnected web and database that you're existing in. I'm hearing storing and collecting memories. I'm hearing experiencing memories of what has already happened. It's like you're witnessing your present moment unfold before you, like a memory. Complete transparency has always been considered a mysterious element, and although few have defined it, many have spoken about it. This is the most translucent kind of air. In India, it's referred to the Sanskrit word for akasha, which means a sacred place. It's like you're returning back to a sacred way of viewing yourself because you are a sacred being. I'm hearing shadows and all, okay? I'm hearing the shadows are the most sacred part of you, for it's the very thing that allows you to experience your light. Light doesn't know itself without its counterpart, the shadow. Source doesn't know itself. Source created darkness. There was only light. In the beginning, there was only light. Right? And that's all there really is. Everything else, the shadow was created to create the illusion of separation and so that we could play with our own light. Infinite countless life forms. This was also believed to be the supralunar world of, and Tesla considered it the 5th element. According to classic scientific theory, it was thought that it was completely transparent, devoid of weight and friction, and filled all of space. The ether has always been very controversial. So, we will honor this here by saying that nowadays, this hypothesis is now obsolete in astronomy, notwithstanding Albert Einstein himself said the following: by denying the existence of the ether, we are assuming that there are no physical properties within empty space. The fundamentals of quantum mechanics are not aligned with this perspective. We may say that according to the general theory of relativity, space is endowed with physical qualities. In this sense, therefore, there exists an ether. According to the general theory of relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. Space in this experience without source, without magic, without plasma, without infinite potentials is unthinkable. Today, it's been born under the name of relativistic ether, with many doubts raised over regarding a new name of the same essence. The same thing with many names, the same source with many masks, with many characters that it plays. Not everything has to look like light for it to be light. Even the shadow was born from the light. Seeing is believing, or believing is seeing. Meanwhile, the ether looks down from above with a sly grin and suggests both enjoyment and complicity. Okay? the great scheme of all their work, which humbly remains anonymous, as only vanity would make us know its name. We refer to the medium through which light spreads as the message. Even though we know that the human eye is unable to see all types of light, ergo, it may be that we are leaving out much more than a light spectrum by only relying on the tangible, visible, endorsed, and verified facts. The human who seeks to understand everything will only understand everything when he stops wanting to understand. Sometimes we look for answers and return with a million more questions. This is saying that you already know the answer. Innately within you. You already know the answer, the true answer. And it's all an experience. Cosmic ether. It's returning back to that fluid, formless-like essence. Let's get a character. The archetype. It's the archetype. There's one, and the subjective. The subjective archetype is the power of words. So this is understanding the power of words. This is like an Aquarius archetype, which the North Node is going to be heading into. I mean, we'll do a whole reading on that when the time comes. Hero's journey at the base. What matters most is the way that you speak to yourself. That will determine the version of reality that you will experience. The way that you think about yourself, the way that you feel about yourself, that intercommunication with plasma, with ether, will shift the way that you relate to your journey on Earth emotionally. It doesn't have to feel like a weight of responsibility or a burden, but it can feel like play, and both can be true simultaneously. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's as serious as we want it to be. Of course, it's intricate in its design. Merkaba, transcendence, ascension, you are rising. Now, what do we have at the base? I love when these two come out together. Soul star activation. This is about your soul star, remembering who you are. And it talks about soul contracts being fulfilled. This card, in a nutshell, talks about coming back into alignment with the cosmic origins that you've had before incarnation. Merkaba is saying that you're accessing this information because what you notice above his head, that's right. He's turning his attention away from the material plane and he's remembering himself as an immaterial being, right? He is timeless, allowing time to experience itself through him. So let's talk about Soul Star first, since it's the first page I turned to. This talks about through the Soul Star, it's our gateway to etheric realms, which holds all the lessons of all the incarnations that we've experienced, right? That's what the Akashic is. Through our Soul Star, we access information and wisdom like a computer. So even the Akashic records, that's the DNA of the earth. It's the memory of the earth and every extension of the earth that has walked upon it, right? It's all it's the memory of everything that has happened upon the planet since the beginning of time, since the beginning of its creation. Through our soul star, we have access information and wisdom. I'm hearing, and what memory lies deeper within that? It's the memory of source experiencing itself as everything. Through our soul star, we access information and wisdom like a computer, connecting to the internet through broadband. Instead of having to move the dimensions to access the information, we can remain connected at all times and download the support as necessary. So he's a keeper of energetic portals and hidden realms that can help us remember our story origins, open psychic vision, and connect directly with the wisdom that's held in the stars. Through your previous journeys, you've learned much about the inner workings of your soul and the cycles of karma. Before this incarnation, you set a powerful intention to remember your divine origins. At this point, you're in a powerful space for your remembering who you truly are, and you know that you have it within you to make a great difference in your life and the lives of those around you, and of course the world. This remembering is in alignment with the soul contracts you made before coming into this realm. If you find yourself worrying if you're making the right decisions, know that even if you aren't conscious of it, all that you've chosen so far is in accordance with your soul's evolutionary plan. And when you draw this gateway, you're opening up on higher levels, okay? Now, Merkaba, let me go ahead and read this to you. You're rising your vibration and becoming magnetic to the presence of wisdom of light, and you're in a space of ascension. The ascension process isn't about leaving this incarnation or dimension, but about finding harmony within it. All of the attention, love, and care that you have been giving your body are supporting your spiritual journey. A powerful gateway of light is surrounding you now, allowing you to connect with the divine matrix of ancient wisdom. It's important for you to be aware of this information, energy, and downloads that you're receiving, for all that comes through is supporting your expansion. You're moving up a level, and it's time to fly high. So, yeah, this sphere of light can help us move between the dimensions while we're having a human experience. We can create a portal to see the divine matrix that we can connect with guidance and walk the path of light. So that's to move in this system and move through your own shadow, right? This own ego, and remember yourself as a light being, remembering yourself as all and nothing simultaneously. Go nowhere, because that's what everything is. You'd have to go out and seek for the answers. The answers will come to the seeker if you're receptive. I'm hearing all the answers are within, so go within, quiet the mind, be still, be fluid like water, and outward things will disclose themselves to you. That's what I see. So, I'm gonna close out now. Yeah, let's close out. I'll get one soul's journey message. Imagination. So I embrace and nourish the creative aspects of my mind. You cannot imagine anything that does not already exist. Trust what you're seeing and trust yourself. So, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. I'm also hearing like Orcus has been aspected, it's been encoded into your chart a very specific way at birth, so that it could be aspected at different points in your journey. That would be optimal for your soul's unfoldment. Okay, for your soul's evolution. So let me know, where is Orcus aspected for you? And is there certain times in your life where where I explained the breakdown of the 12 aspects and the archetypes that it moves through, and you just know instinctively that Orcus is moving through that sign or that house or that specific year of your life? I'd be interested to know how that's manifested for you. Personal reading details also down below. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. I don't know if I said that. Also check out Orcus if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade jewelry. Small family owned business that handcraft these beautiful gemstones. $1 of the proceeds are donated towards otter sanctuaries. And until next time, let me know if you want to see more messages like this. And until we speak again. Bye!